Welcome back to musicmoose.org. It is Irish Day here, and we're continuing on with our lesson from the jam set that David and I played. We're going to start breaking down the Merry Blacksmith. It's worth pointing out that both the Maid Behind the Bar and the Merry Blacksmith were in major key of D. The last tune, The Ships Are Sailing, which will be in a future segment, was in E minor. As for the chorus of these songs, they'll be annotated on the site, in the article, and in the tab. It is worth pointing out that Mr. David's rhythm consisted of lots of chord substitutions, which is very common for Irish rhythm. It's actually, you know, it's sort of like rock guitar almost, with like the rhythmic patterns and the chord substitutions that take place in it. As before, if you didn't watch the set on the Maid Behind the Bar, I recommend you at least watch the first segment, as that contains some information I talked about grace notes and triplets, because this is, we're going to keep moving along with that. And the Maid Behind the Bar contained some amount of triplets and some amount of grace notes. We're going to find that the Merry Blacksmith contains a lot of triplets. I'm going to start teaching you the head of the song, and I'm going to teach it to you two ways. I'm going to teach it to you an easier way that contains the melody, and then I'm going to teach you all the triplets that I threw in the set that we did. So without further ado, let's get into the Merry Blacksmith. We're going to start the song with a couple of grace notes. Just like our pull-offs are super sharp, we want to do the same thing with our slides to get that, that staccato effect. So. That's sort of the head of the song, so let's start breaking that down. This one is actually not as hard as the Merry as the Maid Behind the Bar in terms of crossing over a lot with your fingers. However, as I pointed out, there are a lot more triplets, so it poses its own set of unique challenges. So we start with these grace notes. And that's our first triplet right there. We're going to roll right across the strings. Okay? So let's take that all the way through. So it's a fairly straightforward melody, and as I said, the tab will be on the site, so that'll help a lot with that version. Let's now look at the piece that contains more ornamentation. So I'm going to play this through for you once with all the triplets in it, and then we'll start talking about it. And that's the whole piece. As you noticed, the triplets are pretty much all the way through. So we're going to start with that, where we had that grace note, we're going to do triplets. So right there. So triplets, triplets, triplets. So. We're going to repeat that little rundown to repeat the head. And it's worth noting that a little bit throughout there, if you'll notice, it's hard to play this exactly the same way twice, and there's always a little bit of extra ornamentation. You know, anything you want to add in there at any time, any of that ornamentation sounds cool, whether it's hammer-ons or hammer-on pull-offs or pull-offs or triplets. You can improvise for this how you see fit and how you want to adapt the song. That's pretty much the A part of the Merry Blacksmith. It's a rather short song. And in the next segment, we will talk about the B part, which walks up the neck with more triplets. So until then, moose on.